As night approached, they reached a large chamber with a high ceiling and walls filled with golden carvings. The light from the artifacts shimmered, casting shadows that danced like flames. Rami knew this was only the beginning. The desert had tested them today and they had passed. But the true mysteries of the tomb were still ahead, waiting for those brave enough to continue. Rami looked at his team and said, "We have come this far. Tomorrow we go deeper. The Pharaoh's treasure is not just gold. It is knowledge, invention, and the proof that humans can face any challenge. The desert is watching and we are ready." The team settled in the chamber for the night. The tomb glowed softly around them, alive and ancient. Outside, the desert whispered in the wind, calm for now, waiting for the next step in the journey. Morning light filtered into the tomb, casting long shadows across the golden walls. Rami rubbed his eyes and looked at his team. The chamber where they had slept was enormous, filled with carvings and small machines that hummed faintly. The tomb was no ordinary place. It seemed alive, as if it knew they had arrived. "Today we go deeper," Rami said, his voice firm. "We have passed the first test, but the heart of the tomb is still ahead." Lena nodded, running her fingers over the glowing carvings. The Pharaoh left messages everywhere. Every machine, every symbol is part of a puzzle. The deeper we go, the harder it will get. We need to be careful and think clearly. Omar checked his equipment. The energy readings are stronger deeper in. Whatever powers these machines, it is still active after thousands of years. We need to respect it. One mistake could trap us. Tariq led the way through a narrow corridor that opened into a twisting passage. The walls glowed faintly, showing moving patterns of sand and wind. The carvings depicted the desert storm, showing how they could shift dunes, hide entrances, and even bury treasures. Rami felt a thrill. The Pharaoh had built a tomb that fought the desert, using nature itself as a guardian. As they walked, the floor beneath them suddenly shifted. A section of the corridor slid to one side, revealing a small pit filled with sand. Tariq jumped back and Rami grabbed Lena's arm. "Careful. The tomb reacts to our steps," he said. Omar knelt and examined the mechanism. "It is designed to test our attention. If we rush, the tomb will trap us. We have to move with thought, not force." Rami led the team around the pit, carefully following markings on the walls. Each step required attention. A wrong move could trigger more traps. The tomb was teaching them patience, respect, and focus. They entered a large chamber filled with wind-driven machines. Giant fans, powered by some ancient energy, created air currents that shifted sand across the floor. Lena studied the controls, made of stone levers and wheels. "We have to adjust these to calm the wind," she said. "If we do it wrong, the machines will make the room impossible to cross." Rami watched carefully as Lena worked with Omar's help. They moved levers, turned wheels, and listened to the hum of the machines. Slowly the wind softened and a safe path appeared. Tariq led the team across, moving carefully over the sand. At the far side, they found a pedestal with a small golden tablet. It was inscribed with symbols and diagrams. Lena examined it closely. "This is a map of the tomb's interior," she said. "It shows hidden chambers, paths, and more devices. But some symbols warn of dangers we cannot yet see. The Pharaoh designed this tomb to teach those who enter. Every treasure is guarded by intelligence and skill." Rami studied the map and nodded. "We are ready. The desert outside may be harsh, but the tomb inside is more demanding. We must work together to uncover its secrets." They followed the map deeper into the tomb. The corridors twisted, opened into chambers, and sometimes ended abruptly. Each dead end forced them to think differently, to study the walls and floor for hidden signs. The tomb seemed alive, shifting as they moved, testing their intelligence and cooperation. Finally, they reached a chamber with walls covered in mirrors and polished metal. Light reflected in every direction, creating a maze of brightness. Omar studied the room. "The Pharaoh used reflection to protect something. We have to find the path without triggering traps." Rami led the team carefully, moving slowly and watching each reflection. Lena noticed a pattern in the mirrors, showing a safe route. They followed it, avoiding pressure plates that could have triggered sand or walls to close. The room seemed endless, but their teamwork and careful observation allowed them to reach the center. There, on a pedestal, rested a small golden sphere, glowing softly. Its surface was covered in carvings similar to the first artifact they had found. Rami reached for it, feeling a surge of energy in his hands. The tomb's machines paused as if acknowledging their success. The desert outside seemed calmer, the wind less harsh, almost welcoming. This is incredible, Lena whispered. The tomb responds to intelligence and respect. It is not just guarding treasure. It is teaching humanity what it is capable of. Tarek smiled. The desert is part of the tomb. Every test we face here prepares us for the challenges outside. We are learning not only about the Pharaoh but about ourselves. Rami looked around the chamber and felt pride in his team. We are ready to continue. The heart of the tomb awaits, and we have proven that humans can face challenges with courage, intelligence, and respect. The treasure is not just gold. It is the knowledge and the proof of human skill. As they prepared to leave the chamber, the tomb seemed to breathe around them. The light shifted, showing new paths and new symbols. The adventure was far from over. The Pharaoh's tomb was alive in a way no one had imagined, and the desert outside was only the beginning of the trials to come. Rami felt a surge of determination. Tomorrow we go deeper. The tomb has more secrets and we are ready to meet them. Humans can rise to any challenge if we think carefully, act wisely, and work together. The team rested that night in the chamber, surrounded by glowing walls and the hum of ancient machines. Outside, the desert winds whispered softly, waiting for the next day's journey. Rami closed his eyes, ready for whatever the tomb would reveal next. The team woke to a soft hum that filled the chamber. Light reflected from the walls danced across the floor as if it had a life of its own. Rami rubbed his eyes and stood. Today they would move deeper into the tomb, and he knew the challenges would grow. The Pharaoh had built this place not to hide treasure, but to test those who entered. Be ready for anything, Rami said as the team gathered. The tomb has already tested our intelligence and patience. Now it will test our teamwork and courage. Lena studied the glowing symbols on the walls. The markings show moving walls, shifting floors, and obstacles that react to our presence. We cannot rush. We must watch, think, and act together. Omar checked his tools, ensuring that everything was ready. If we make one mistake, the tomb could trap us. But if we stay careful, we can learn more about the Pharaoh's designs and the treasures hidden here. Tariq led the way through a narrow passage. The walls seemed closer than before, carved with symbols that warned of danger. As they walked, a low rumble echoed through the corridor. Sand shifted beneath their feet, and suddenly a section of the floor slid downward, revealing a deep pit. Rami grabbed Lena's arm. Step back. The tomb is alive. It reacts to us. Omar studied the pit. The tomb is testing observation. It wants to see if we notice traps and think carefully. We cannot just move forward blindly. Rami and his team worked together, using planks and stones to create a safe path across the pit. Every step required balance and attention. The tomb was teaching them that courage alone was not enough. Intelligence and cooperation were just as important. After crossing, they entered a chamber filled with wind-driven machines. Giant fans turned slowly, moving air and sand in patterns that changed constantly. Lena examined the controls. These machines are designed to protect the treasure. We have to adjust them carefully or the winds will block our path. Rami nodded. Work together. Watch each other's steps. Think before acting. They adjusted levers, wheels, and stone buttons in perfect sequence. The winds softened, revealing a clear path through the room. Tarek led the team carefully, stepping where the airflow was weakest. Omar smiled. The tomb responds to respect and skill. We are learning its patterns. At the far side, they discovered a wall of mirrors. The reflective surfaces created a confusing maze. Rami studied it. The Pharaoh wanted to test our perception. Every reflection could lead to a trap. Lena noticed a faint pattern in the mirrors, showing a safe path through the maze. They followed it carefully, avoiding pressure plates hidden in the floor. Each step required focus, patience, and trust in one another. In the center of the chamber, they found a pedestal holding a golden sphere similar to the one from the previous room. It glowed softly, and intricate patterns carved into its surface seemed to shift as they watched. Rami reached out and touched it. Immediately, the tomb's machinery paused. The desert winds outside calmed as well, as if the tomb itself acknowledged their success. This is more than treasure, Lena whispered. It is knowledge. The Pharaoh designed this to teach. Every machine, every trap, every puzzle is a lesson in intelligence and human skill. Tariq smiled. The desert is part of the tomb. Every challenge we face inside prepares us for what we might face outside. The tomb shows us that humans can rise to any challenge when we think carefully and act together. Rami nodded, feeling pride in his team. We have passed tests of observation, patience, and teamwork. Tomorrow we will go even deeper. The heart of the tomb holds the greatest secrets, and we must be ready. As they moved deeper, the corridors began to twist and change more rapidly. Walls slid quietly, floors shifted, and passages that had been open before now closed behind them. The tomb seemed to breathe, moving around them, guiding them, testing them in new ways. They reached a chamber with large stone doors covered in carvings of sandstorms and shifting dunes. Omar studied the mechanisms. These doors are not just decoration. They move and respond to pressure. We must find the right combination to open them safely. Rami and Lena examined the symbols on the wall. They worked together, tracing patterns with their fingers, interpreting the Pharaoh's instructions. Step by step, they adjusted levers and rotated stone wheels. The doors began to shift slowly, revealing a passage beyond. Inside, the air felt cooler, and a faint golden light shimmered ahead. The tomb was testing their courage now, moving obstacles that required them to trust one another completely. Tariq led carefully, guiding the others over narrow paths and around shifting walls. At last, they entered a large chamber filled with glowing hieroglyphs and small moving machines. The carvings told stories of the Pharaoh's achievements, his inventions, and his vision for humanity. Rami felt awe and respect. The tomb was more than a resting place for treasure. It was a monument to human skill, intelligence, and perseverance. "This is incredible," Lena said softly. "The tomb is alive, but it is not cruel. It is teaching." Every challenge is meant to prepare those who enter for greater knowledge and discovery. Rami looked at his team. "We have faced danger, worked together, and learned the tomb's lessons. Tomorrow we go even deeper. The greatest secrets are still ahead, and the Pharaoh has left them for humans brave enough to seek them." The team rested in the chamber for the night. The tomb hummed softly, glowing around them. Outside, the desert winds whispered gently, waiting for the next day's journey. Rami closed his eyes, ready for whatever trials awaited them, knowing that courage, intelligence, and teamwork would guide them through the Pharaoh's living tomb. The team woke to a soft golden light that filled the chamber. The hum of the tomb was steady like a heartbeat. Rami looked at Lena, Omar, and Tariq. They had passed many tests so far, but he knew the heart of the tomb held the greatest challenges. Today they would discover the true treasure of the Pharaoh. "Stay focused," Rami said. "The tomb has tested our courage, patience, and teamwork. Now it will show us why it was built. The Pharaoh wanted to leave something more than gold." Lena ran her fingers over the glowing hieroglyphs on the walls. These symbols tell of inventions, machines, and knowledge. The Pharaoh wanted to teach humanity how to think, how to create, and how to respect nature. Every trap was a lesson, not a punishment. Omar checked his instruments. "The energy readings are stronger here than anywhere else. Whatever is ahead is not ordinary. We need to move carefully, but we must not fear it. The Pharaoh trusted human intelligence, and so should we." Tariq led the way through a narrow passage that opened into a large chamber. The air was cooler, and a faint golden light shimmered from the walls and floor. The room was vast, filled with machines, glowing symbols, and small pools of water. The floor shifted slightly under their feet, but it was safe. Rami approached a pedestal at the center. On it rested a small golden box covered in intricate carvings. Lena knelt to examine it. "This is more than treasure. It holds knowledge. Look at the symbols. They show how the Pharaoh stored energy and controlled the desert around him. This is genius beyond anything we have seen before." Omar studied the mechanisms around the pedestal. "The tomb is teaching us how to use this safely. Every machine, every symbol has a purpose. The Pharaoh wanted humans to understand, not just take the treasure," Rami smiled. "We have proven ourselves capable. Now we see the reward, not just gold but knowledge and invention." They moved carefully through the chamber. Some machines created wind, moving small dunes of sand inside the room. Others directed light through prisms, forming maps of the tomb. Rami watched in awe. The Pharaoh had built a system that could survive for centuries and protect itself while teaching those who entered. Lena touched a glowing tablet on the wall. Images appeared, showing how to create devices that controlled air, water, and sand. "This is incredible," she whispered. The Pharaoh knew how to use nature, how to solve problems with intelligence. The tomb is a school for humanity. Tariq smiled. "The desert outside is not just sand. It is part of the lesson. The tomb inside is teaching us how to work with nature, not against it." Every challenge we faced prepared us for this moment. Rami nodded. We have learned courage, patience, teamwork, and now wisdom. This is the real treasure. Gold can be taken by anyone, but knowledge changes humans forever. They explored the chamber carefully. Small golden artifacts rested on pedestals, each with instructions carved into them. Some devices controlled water flow, some created energy from sunlight, and others manipulated sand to protect or reveal hidden paths. Omar handled each device with care, testing how it worked. The tomb seemed to respond, moving air slightly, adjusting light, and guiding them without harm. Lena studied the carvings and laughed softly. The Pharaoh wanted humans to succeed. He trusted us to learn and respect his designs. This is proof that human skill and intelligence can achieve incredible things. Rami looked at his team and felt pride. We have discovered more than treasure. We have discovered the power of human curiosity, teamwork, and respect for knowledge. This is humanity at its best. As they prepared to leave the chamber, a soft rumble passed through the tomb. The floor shifted slightly and a hidden door opened on the far side. Inside, they saw another room filled with treasures of gold and jewels. But the team hardly noticed. Their eyes were fixed on the machines, the carvings, and the knowledge the Pharaoh had left behind. Tariq said, "The gold is not important. What matters is what we have learned. The tomb has shown us that humans can rise to any challenge when we are clever, brave, and work together." Rami nodded. The desert may be harsh, but it is also a teacher. The tomb shows that humans can solve problems, respect nature, and create wonders that last for centuries. This is the true reward. They spent hours studying the chamber, learning how each device worked and recording the knowledge for future study. The tomb responded to their presence, shifting light, air, and even the floor to guide them safely. The Pharaoh's design was complete. The tomb was a living lesson, a monument to human skill and intelligence. As night fell, the team settled in the chamber. Outside, the desert wind whispered softly, calm for the first time in days. Rami looked at the glowing walls and felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The tomb had tested them, taught them, and rewarded them with knowledge beyond measure. "We have seen the Pharaoh's vision," Rami said quietly. He wanted humans to understand, to grow, and to respect the world around them. That is the greatest treasure of all. The team rested that night, surrounded by the hum of machines, glowing carvings, and the lessons of a pharaoh who had lived centuries before. The desert outside was quiet, waiting for the next day's journey, but inside the tomb, humanity's courage and intelligence had proven victorious. The morning sun touched the walls of the tomb with soft golden light. Rami awoke first and looked around. The chamber had been quiet all night, but he knew that the tomb had more tests waiting. Today, they would face the desert's final challenge before leaving. The Pharaoh's designs were not only clever, but they protected the tomb and its knowledge for centuries. "Stay alert," Rami said as the team gathered. "We have learned much, but the desert outside is part of the tomb too. It will test us one last time before we carry its knowledge beyond these sands." Lena studied the glowing symbols on the walls. The Pharaoh wanted humans to be ready for the world outside. "Every device here is a lesson. The desert is alive, and we must respect it." Omar adjusted his instruments. "The energy readings are stronger near the exit. Whatever waits outside, we must stay clever and careful." Tariq led the team through the corridors. The passage twisted and turned, revealing new rooms filled with mechanisms. Giant fans, levers, and rotating stones created challenges that required teamwork. The floor shifted gently under their feet, testing balance and focus. Rami watched his team. "Move slowly. Observe everything. The tomb rewards intelligence and patience, not speed." As they approached the final chamber, a low rumble echoed through the corridors. Sand shifted outside, and the walls of the tomb seemed to vibrate. The Pharaoh had designed a system that connected the tomb to the desert. The wind and dunes could change, blocking paths or revealing safe ways. When they entered the chamber, they saw a large doorway leading outside, but the passage was blocked by a swirling wall of sand, spinning like a small desert storm inside the tomb. The team stopped, studying the phenomenon. "This is the final test," Lena said. "We must find a way to calm it. The tomb will not let anyone leave without respect and skill." Omar examined the levers and wheels around the chamber. "These controls adjust airflow and sand movement. If we work together, we can create a path through the storm." Rami nodded. "Divide tasks. Lena, focus on the levers. Omar, adjust the wheels. Tariq and I will guide the sand and watch for any sudden changes." They worked carefully, each movement precise. The air shifted and the sandstorm slowed, parting slightly to show a safe path. The tomb seemed to respond to their intelligence, adjusting the storm with gentle wind. It was a lesson in teamwork, patience, and understanding the forces of nature. Step by step, the team moved through the chamber. The sand swirled around them, but they did not fear it. They had learned the tomb's lessons and respected its design. Every step was deliberate, every move thoughtful. The tomb and the desert seemed to recognize their courage and wisdom. Finally, they reached the doorway leading to the desert outside. The sandstorm parted completely, leaving a clear path. Rami stepped forward, followed by Lena, Omar, and Tariq. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly, calm and golden. The Pharaoh's tomb lay behind them, safe and alive, waiting for the next travelers worthy of its secrets. Rami looked at his team. We have proven ourselves. The desert has tested our courage, patience, teamwork, and intelligence. We have learned the lessons of the Pharaoh and the tomb. Now we carry this knowledge beyond these sands. Lena smiled, brushing sand from her clothes. The tomb was never about gold or jewels alone. It was about wisdom, human skill, and respect for nature. We understand that now. Omar studied the artifacts they carried carefully. These devices can help us learn, create, and solve problems. The Pharaoh's vision will guide humanity if we share it wisely. Tariq looked at the desert. It is calm now, but it will always be a teacher. The tomb has prepared us for challenges, not just inside, but everywhere in the world. Rami nodded. We respect the desert and the tomb. That is why we succeeded. Humanity can rise to any challenge when we think carefully, work together, and respect what we do not yet understand. The team set up a temporary camp near the tomb's entrance to rest before returning home. The desert wind whispered gently, carrying the story of their journey. The Pharaoh's designs had tested them, taught them, and rewarded them with knowledge and wisdom. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the dunes, Rami looked at the golden mountain where the tomb was hidden. The treasure of the Pharaoh is not just gold. It is proof that humans can overcome challenges, solve problems, and create wonders that last forever. Lena nodded. We will take this knowledge with us and share it. Humanity can learn, grow, and respect the world, just as the Pharaoh intended. Omar added, the tomb shows that technology and intelligence, combined with courage and teamwork, can achieve anything. That is the real treasure. Tariq smiled, watching the calm desert. We faced every test. We learned every lesson. Now we carry the Pharaoh's vision forward. That night, the team rested under the stars. The desert was quiet, the tomb safe, and the wind gentle. Rami closed his eyes, proud of what they had accomplished. They had faced a living tomb, survived its challenges, and uncovered its greatest secrets. Humanity had proven its courage, intelligence, and respect for the world. In the distance, the desert dunes shimmered under the moonlight. The Pharaoh's tomb remained hidden, alive, and waiting for the next worthy explorers. But for Rami and his team, the journey had shown that humans could rise to any challenge when they worked together, thought wisely, and respected the forces around them. They had uncovered not just treasure, but a legacy. A reminder that humanity's greatest power was in its courage, intelligence, and the ability to respect and learn from the world. The morning sun rose slowly over the golden dunes. Rami and his team packed their tools, artifacts, and notes carefully. Today they would leave the tomb behind and return to the world outside. The desert stretched endlessly before them, calm and bright. The Pharaoh's tomb was hidden in its heart, alive and waiting, but the team now carried its lessons and treasures with them. Are we ready? Rami asked. We have learned patience, courage, intelligence, and teamwork. Now it is time to leave and share what we have discovered. Lena smiled as she secured the glowing tablets. The tomb gave us more than gold or jewels. It gave us knowledge, inventions, and lessons. We are ready for the world outside. Omar adjusted his instruments. The desert will always be a teacher. But now we know how to move with respect, how to solve problems, and how to work together. The Pharaoh's designs will guide us if we remember everything we learned. Tariq led the way, stepping carefully over the shifting sand outside the tomb. The wind was gentle, almost welcoming, as if the desert recognized their success. Rami followed closely, watching his team move confidently across the dunes. They had proven themselves worthy, and the desert had acknowledged it. As they walked, Rami looked back at the tomb hidden beneath the sands. The golden light of morning glinted off its entrance, faintly glowing as if alive. "The tomb will remain here," he said. "It will continue to teach, protect, and wait for those who are clever, brave, and respectful. But we carry its lessons beyond these dunes." The journey across the desert was long, but the team moved with purpose. They used the skills they had learned inside the tomb to navigate safely. Small shifts in the dunes, the direction of the wind, and the patterns in the sand guided them. Every step reminded them of the tests they had passed, the challenges they had overcome, and the knowledge they now possessed. At midday, they reached a plateau overlooking the vast desert. The view was breathtaking. Waves of golden sand stretched as far as the eye could see, dotted with distant mountains and occasional patches of green oasis. Rami took a deep breath. "The desert is beautiful, but it is also a teacher. It teaches humans how to be careful, intelligent, and patient." "That is what the Pharaoh wanted to show us," Lena nodded. "We have seen how nature and intelligence can work together." The tomb was a lesson in respect, problem-solving, and understanding. Every trap, every machine, every symbol was a test that made us stronger. Omar held one of the small golden artifacts they had brought from the tomb. "This is proof that human ingenuity can survive for centuries. The Pharaoh's vision is now in our hands. We must use it wisely to create, solve problems, and help humanity grow." Tariq smiled, watching the desert winds ripple over the dunes. "We faced the tomb's challenges and passed. We learned the value of courage, intelligence, patience, and teamwork. The desert taught us, and now we carry that knowledge forward." As they began their journey back toward civilization, Rami reflected on everything they had experienced. The Pharaoh had built a tomb that was alive, powerful, and clever. It tested human limits, respected intelligence, and rewarded those who were worthy. The true treasure was not gold or jewels, but the lessons in human skill, perseverance, and understanding. Hours later, the team set up a small camp to rest before continuing. Lena unrolled the glowing tablets and began organizing their notes. "We must record everything carefully," she said. "This knowledge can help humanity. The inventions, the energy devices, the machines, these are lessons that can improve life for many people." Omar nodded. "The Pharaoh left a legacy. We carry it now. We must remember everything we learned and share it with respect and care. Knowledge is more valuable than treasure, and we have been given a great gift." Rami looked at the horizon, the desert glowing in the warm light of sunset. "The tomb will always be here, waiting for others to prove themselves. But we have passed the final test. Humans can rise to any challenge when we work together, think carefully, and respect what we do not yet understand." That night, under a sky filled with stars, the team sat around a small fire. The desert was calm, whispering softly in the wind. Rami felt a deep sense of accomplishment. They had faced the living tomb, navigated its clever traps, learned its lessons, and carried its knowledge into the world. Lena looked at the stars. The Pharaoh believed in human intelligence, creativity, and courage. He created a tomb that would test and teach. We have seen that vision. Now it is our responsibility to use it wisely. Tariq smiled. "The desert taught us patience, observation, and respect. The tomb taught us teamwork, problem-solving, and courage. Together, we have discovered humanity at its best." Omar added, "And the treasures we carry are proof that humans can create wonders that last for centuries. That is the true legacy of the Pharaoh's tomb." Rami leaned back, feeling the cool desert night on his skin. "We leave tomorrow, but we carry everything we learned with us. The tomb may remain hidden, alive, and waiting, but its lessons will travel with us. Humanity has proven itself capable of greatness, and we are proof." The team sat quietly, looking at the desert and the stars above. They had completed their journey, faced the tomb's tests, and uncovered its true treasures. Courage, intelligence, respect, and teamwork had guided them through every challenge. The Pharaoh's tomb was a living lesson, and they had learned it fully. As they drifted to sleep under the vast sky, the desert remained calm, the tomb hidden beneath the sands, and the stars watched over the humans who had proven themselves worthy. The adventure had ended, but the knowledge and lessons they carried would continue to shine just like the desert sun. Rami stepped out of the hovering transport and felt the heat of the desert press against his skin. The wind carried fine grains of sand that stung like tiny needles, but he hardly noticed. His eyes were fixed on the vast landscape before him. Endless dunes rose and fell like golden waves, and in the distance a single mountain of sand stood taller than the others. Villagers had called it the moving mountain, Rumors said it marked the location of a hidden tomb, a resting place of a pharaoh whose treasures had never been found. Rami adjusted his scarf around his face and looked back at his small team. There was Lena, the archaeologist whose knowledge of ancient hieroglyphs was unmatched. Omar, the engineer, carried gadgets and tools that could solve almost any problem. And Tariq, a tracker, who could read the desert like a book. They were all here for the same reason: curiosity and the chance to uncover something extraordinary. "This wind is stronger than I expected," Lena said, shading her eyes against the sun. She squinted at the horizon where the moving mountains seemed to shimmer. Rami nodded. "We are close. The villagers warned us about storms, but they also said the tomb waits for those who are brave and clever. Let's find it before the sands shift again." The team began walking. Each step sank slightly into the soft sand. The desert seemed calm now, but Rami remembered the villagers' warnings. The desert could change paths, hide trails, and even mislead travelers. He trusted his team and himself. They had to pay attention to every sign, every shadow, every grain of sand that moved differently. After a few hours, the sun began to descend, painting the sky in shades of red and orange. The wind picked up, carrying with it a faint whisper, almost like a warning. Tariq stopped suddenly and pointed. "Look there. Tracks in the sand. Not animal tracks, human, but old, very old." Rami knelt and examined the marks. They were deep, almost carved into the sand. "These must be centuries old, yet the desert has not erased them." "Something is protecting this path," he said, his voice filled with awe. As they followed the tracks, Lena noticed a series of symbols etched into the rocks at the base of a dune. She ran her fingers over the carvings. "These are hieroglyphs," she said. "They tell a story. They warn people not to enter, but also hint at a reward for those who understand the desert and respect it." Rami felt a thrill of excitement. This is more than just a tomb. The pharaoh must have designed it to protect itself. It is alive in a way, using the desert to guard its secrets. Night fell quickly in the desert. The wind grew colder and the dunes seemed to shift slightly as if they were breathing. The team set up a small camp near the base of the moving mountain. Omar checked his instruments, which measured wind speed and temperature changes. "Something is unusual here. The air itself feels charged. Be ready for anything," he said. Rami nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. He felt a strange energy coming from the dunes. It was not dangerous yet, but it was as if the desert was watching them, testing them. He knew they had to rest, but he also knew sleep would be uneasy. The desert demanded respect. Around the campfire, Lena examined more of the carvings she had collected. "The pharaoh's tomb is not just gold and jewels," she said. "It is a message. Whoever built it wanted the world to see human skill and intelligence. It is a treasure that tests the mind as much as the body." Rami smiled. "Then we must be ready to prove ourselves. The desert may be harsh, but it will not defeat us if we stay smart and careful." Suddenly, a strong wind blew across the camp. Sand whipped around them, stinging their faces and forcing them to crouch low. Rami grabbed Omar and Lena and pulled them behind a rock for shelter. The wind seemed alive, twisting and turning in strange patterns. It lasted only a few minutes before it calmed, but the team was shaken. "That was not a normal sandstorm," Tariq said, his voice low. "It felt like the desert itself was moving, like it wanted to tell us something." Rami nodded. "The tomb is close. I can feel it. And the desert is warning us that we must be careful. This is only the beginning. Tomorrow we follow the signs deeper into the sands. We will find the entrance and see the treasures for ourselves." That night, as the team slept fitfully under the stars, the desert seemed to settle around them. The dunes glowed faintly in moonlight and the moving mountain towered silently. Somewhere beneath its sands lay the tomb, waiting for those who could prove themselves worthy. Rami closed his eyes, dreaming of ancient pharaohs and treasures that had waited centuries for human courage, curiosity, and intelligence to uncover them. The desert was not their enemy. It was a guardian, and Rami knew that tomorrow their real adventure would begin. The morning sun rose slowly over the desert, painting the dunes in bright gold and soft orange. Rami stirred first, brushing sand from his clothes. The camp was quiet except for the faint sound of the wind moving over the dunes. He looked at his team, still asleep, and felt a mix of excitement and caution. Today they would take the first real steps into the heart of the desert to find the pharaoh's tomb. Lena was the first to wake. She stretched and smiled at Rami. "I can feel it today. The signs are stronger. The tomb wants us to see it, but it will not make itself easy to reach. Rami nodded, adjusting his scarf against the rising heat. We have to pay attention to every detail. The desert is full of surprises, and this tomb was built to protect itself. Let's follow the old tracks and the symbols we found yesterday. They are our guide. Tariq led the way, moving carefully across the shifting sand. His eyes scanned the ground, reading tiny changes in the dunes. The desert is not the same as yesterday, he said. Some paths have moved. We must be alert and ready to change direction at any moment. As they walked, they noticed unusual patterns in the sand. Some dunes seemed shaped like waves frozen in motion. Others had ridges that glowed faintly under the morning sun. Lena bent down and traced one of the glowing lines with her fingers. These are not natural, she said. Someone or something has marked these paths. They are part of the tomb's design. It is guiding us, but also testing us. Rami felt a thrill run through him. The tomb was more than a resting place for treasure. It was a lesson in human skill and intelligence, waiting for people who could understand its secrets. He thought of the Pharaoh who had built it. This was a mind far ahead of its time. Hours passed and the sun climbed higher. The heat grew stronger and the wind shifted from a gentle breeze to a sharp gust that carried fine sand in every direction. Omar adjusted his equipment to measure the wind and the air pressure. There is something unusual about this wind, he said. It changes suddenly and moves in patterns that are too organized to be natural. The tomb is near. I can feel it in these readings. Tariq stopped suddenly. He pointed at the base of a large dune. Look at that, a shadow. Not from the sun. Something is buried there. Rami approached carefully. With Lena and Tariq, he began to dig around the base of the dune. After several minutes, they uncovered a small stone door, partially covered in sand. Hieroglyphs decorated the edges, glowing faintly in the sunlight. Lena traced the symbols. This is it. The first entrance. But it is small. I think it is a test. The tomb wants to see if we are clever and patient enough to find the real way inside. Rami examined the door closely. There were no handles or hinges. It appeared solid, unmovable. The Pharaoh built this well, he said. We have to understand it, not force it. Let's look for clues around it. As they searched, Omar noticed small grooves in the sand leading around the dune. They formed a pattern that matched the symbols on the door. The solution is outside the door, he said. We need to follow this pattern exactly. One wrong step, and the desert will reject us. The team carefully followed the grooves, moving stones and aligning them according to the ancient symbols. The wind swirled around them almost as if it was watching. Then, with a low hum, the stone door slid open, revealing a dark passage. A faint golden light shimmered from inside. Rami stepped forward, leading the team into the tomb. The air was cooler and the silence was heavy. The walls were covered with carvings that glowed faintly, showing stories of the Pharaoh's reign and inventions. Lena studied them carefully. These carvings show machines that move sand, control water, and even store energy. The Pharaoh was not just a ruler. He was a scientist, an engineer, and a thinker far ahead of his time. As they moved deeper, they noticed a strange artifact resting on a pedestal. It was a small golden sphere covered in intricate patterns. Omar picked it up carefully. The moment he touched it, the wind outside the tomb changed. A sudden gust swirled the sands, but it did not harm them. Instead, the desert seemed to pause, respecting their presence. This is remarkable, Rami said. The tomb reacts to us. It is not just a place of treasure. It is alive in a way. It knows we are here and it is judging us, testing our intelligence and respect. Tariq smiled. The desert is part of the tomb. Every storm, every shifting dune is a message. We have to keep our minds open and our courage strong. The team continued through the passage, each step revealing more wonders. The tomb was not just hidden in the desert. It was designed to challenge humans, to reward patience, intelligence, and respect for nature. Rami felt pride for humanity. Here, far from cities and technology, they were proving that courage and clever thinking could meet any challenge.